Welcome back to Conversations from the Hearth. Today we're joined by an awesome guest. This is Master Eric Ryan. He's a longtime AOK competitor, and as I've been attending those AOK events, I've gotten to know him, and I'm eager to learn more about him today. Grandmaster Ryan, or Master Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate me.
Could you tell us a little bit how you got started in the martial arts?
Man, so I grew up in East Austin off of Springdale. It was a pretty rough neighborhood. Found myself getting picked on quite a bit. I went to private school, so I was being taught to, do good, go to church, and in the neighborhood though, it's completely opposite. In the neighborhood, it was pretty tough, and the kids were, pretty aggressive. So one day, me and my dad were eating some tacos at Dan's Hamburgers in Austin, where we used to do every Sunday. And there was a little box on the thing that said, "Hey, fill out and try to win some free karate classes." And I probably filled out 100 of them. Me and my dad sat there for a couple weeks, just putting them in, and it's a hilarious story that one of my grandmasters can tell too, because he received all of those. But lo and behold, with all those entries, I did. I won a free two week trial, and I started out at Karate World, and oh man, it was 1991, I believe. And I started training with Grandmaster Burrs at the Prestige Karate World. I mean, you can talk to people. I got to see the real fighters, growing up. They were, they'd go in and it was full contact, it wasn't really point sparring. It was the
hmm
real deal. And I started training under Grandmaster Burrs, and then Master Mike Hill and my mom ended up getting into a relationship, and it pushed me into martial arts even more because now my stepfather was also teaching me. Um, and with all those entries and trying to just prepare myself in the neighborhood that I was growing up with, I just dug in, and I did martial arts underneath Grandmaster Burst, Master Hill, and then I even trained under Grandmaster Moses Williams for a while as a child. Did a little kung fu with him.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean that's really where I got started. I got started with an entry form in a box for free karate lessons.
that's the
So
best way to get started. That's amazing. What a cool story. Um, you strike me as such a humble guy. I really appreciate that about you already. Um, but it sounds like you've trained under some really amazing practitioners. Like these people you're talking about are kind of legends in our community. And can you tell me a little bit about Soryu Karate and how this all came together? I've heard of it through the grapevine. I have no actual experience with Soryu Karate, so I've done Shorin Karate, and it's really near and dear to my heart, and I love it. But I don't know anything about Soryu Karate, so can you tell me a little bit about Joe Alvarado and Grandmaster Burse and how
So
that
I got
started?
I got to grow up with Joe Alvarado as a mentor. He wasn't actually one of my specific teachers. By the time I started karate, he was pretty much already retired, and he had kind of left to his black belts. So Lopez and some great other martial artists that were in that time. But Joe Alvarado, from my understanding, he learned underneath Coriaso when he was stationed overseas. He came back and basically started up Texas Soryu Karate and started training people. My grandmaster, which is Grandmaster Burse, actually was one of his, if not his last black belt that he handed out. And basically, Master Burse, like I said, started the karate world, and he ran off of Rutland in East Austin, off Rumberg, for as long as him. And then, Master Hill from Master Burst, which then I told. So I guess I'm fourth generation under them. But Joe Alvarado was a great man. I mean, everybody knows he passed away not too long ago.
Did you
He
hear
was one
that?
of those guys that I learned at an early age. If he's gonna demonstrate, you don't want to be the one sitting next to him because he's gonna demonstrate it to the fullest. Let me see your hand. Well, you might not feel your hand for the next couple days. So. I had some fun experiences with him. He was a fantastic mentor. As I grew up, I knew him as the man that sold the T-shirts at the tournaments, and he said he was out there watching constantly from the side, and his eyes were upon us. Even though that he was not teaching at that time, but um, Joe Alvarado put out some fantastic black belts that I was very fortunate to be able to grow up with. Unfortunately, a lot of Soryu is passing by. A lot of them have left us. We've lost Master Silvera, we've lost Rooster, we've lost Daryl Stewart, we've lost Alvarado. We just had a lot of fantastic individuals, unfortunately, that had just left us way too soon. And that's kind of where I fit in. After my father, Grandmaster Mike Hill, passed away, I knew that I did not want his legacy just to go with him. I actually recalled having vivid memory or vivid conversations with him in the dojo before he passed about, if I didn't step up, probably the school would shut down and it wouldn't continue. And it was one of the first things that popped in my mind when we lost him was just that I did not want his legacy to go. At my karate dojo, we have a huge photo up on the wall of him for respect. And also, we bow into him, we bow out to him every time I leave that studio because he is the founder of that school. He is the one that, built the foundation. And now I'm trying to build that mansion on top of it. I'm just trying to keep the Soryu Karate alive and trying to push out what I was taught as a very young kid and trying to do exactly what they all want is to keep our traditions going, and our
Yeah.
traditions keep growing year to year. We keep getting better and better, and we have some fantastic martial artists that are involved with us. We have Jason Castro, which basically everybody knows Castro. He's a fantastic martial artist that has come out of Soryu roots. We have Evan Tomostik, which is another one of our Soryu Golden Greek winners. Fantastic young man that works super duper hard. He's a military. He just, I mean, he's in college. He just does so much with the ROTC. I mean, he's just a fantastic young man. Um, but yeah, we're just trying to keep the whole Texas Soryu karate going, and keep these guys' names alive, because if I don't do it, I'm not sure who's going to step up and do it. So.
Yeah. Wow. So there must be it must be a heavy mantle to hold. I mean, you must be one of the most senior practitioners in Soryu at this time, correct?
I mean, there are some great instructors out there. Frank Silvera, he's still, he does the Japanese Soryu karate. There are some other gentlemen that I've never got to meet that are in some other states. I believe we have some in Oklahoma. I believe there's one in New York. I've personally never got to meet them. I don't even know their names, unfortunately. But we do still have Chris Lopez, which is and Rudy Vasquez. I'm not sure exactly how much Soryu they're still teaching, but I do know that they do a lot of jujitsu and kickboxing and a lot of that full contact fighting. There's also Jeff Bogley, which is one of the 10th degree black belts in Soryu. He's still kicking it out there, and he looks like he's kicking butt out there still too. I mean, I see him and his team out there, going to jujitsu tournaments, and it looks like they're winning like crazy. So there's still some Soryu guys out there. It just when it comes to the actual fundamental of Soryu karate, doing the katas day in and out, having our kids in those horse stances, working them front balance stances and cat stance, working the pinyons and the kashankas. There's not too many of us, I don't believe, that are still pushing, Joe Alvarado's those Texas Soryu Karates. So I've actually switched mine to Master Ryan's, which is to me more like a chapter. It's a chapter of Texas Soryu Karate because of the fact that, I'm not the creator of Texas Soryu Karate. That was Joe Alvarado. And you had Texas Soryu Karate under Master Burst. And my chapter that I believe that I'm putting in there is just the Ryan chapter. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so humble. And such an amazing story. And it's one that, I wish you the best of luck on and preserving and passing forward. I think that's one of the
thank you.
beauties of martial arts, especially like traditional martial arts like we do, is that you can have this, relationship with your seniors where it's not just about you. It's about somebody else. It's about the legacy that you're bringing forward, and you're just the next person to be able to handle that legacy, and it's a great honor to do so. I think, and I don't know if I want to get too down in the weeds about this, but I think it's something that's being lost on the younger generation. A lot of them are, in the BJJ community, the MMA community, it's really just about, who's the alpha dog and not really about the shoulders that you're standing on. There's so many great legends that have brought us to where we are right now in the martial arts that we owe a lot to them. Yeah, I like what you're saying because I find that is a very uncommon opinion to have, but one that's really refreshing to hear. So,
Thank
where are you going with your martial arts school and with your training? I mean, I've seen you at the AOK events a lot, and it seems like you're personally competing, which is very unusual. Actually, one of the things that I love about the AOK, so I'm fairly new to the AOK. I've done a lot of competing, with the World Taekwondo Federation, and a lot of other organizations, but with those organizations, typically the masters and the grandmasters, they're presiding over the event, but they're not actually jumping in there and competing. And one of the things that I've seen with great fondness with the AAK is there's actually a lot of like old grizzled badasses just out there like doing their thing. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This
you.
guy's an eighth degree black belt and he's out there like breaking bricks. And actually, I saw you breaking some huge stack of
I'm
bricks.
trying. I'm trying. I'm doing my best,
And I'm
man.
like, maybe I need to get out there myself. I come, from my lineages and stuff. Like most of my masters would never get out there, and do that kind of thing. They, wear suit coats and stuff to these tournaments, and in the Korean community, it's just like, there's the competitors and then there's like the officials. But I really love that. I think that's one of the beauties of American culture is that we put a heavy emphasis on staying in the game and continuing education and it's more power to you. So tell me, where are you going with your training and with your school and all that?
For my personal training, I do this because I want to live, man. I mean, I got diagnosed with Graves' disease in 2017. I was in the worst shape of my life. I was 300 plus pounds. Um, I just wasn't doing good. Ended up in the hospital with the shakes and got diagnosed with that hypothyroid and it was a rough ride, and I just knew when I ended up in the hospital at that time that um, I didn't want to succumb to that. So I changed a lot of my bad habits, changed my eating habits, my workout schedule picked up tremendously. I started to build myself back. I never like completely left the martial arts, but there have been times in my life where I've had to, put life over martial arts. Unfortunately, I had to, prepare the foundation for my kids and my family, trying to build up and get them ready and being able to support all of them. So there has been times where I don't want to say I quit karate because I never quit karate. I was always there for testing. I was always there for, fight night, stuff like that. But I wasn't in the best shape of my life doing it. And that kind of comes back to what you were talking about a second ago about, a lot of these grandmasters that don't do it. I just feel like a lot of them, they hurt, and honestly, I don't blame them. I'm hurt. I hurt all the time. I'm 43 now, and I feel like every is just another year of just aggravating. and some people just don't take them as well, and I understand that, but I honestly, if my shoulder's hurting, I'm going to work my legs. If my legs are hurting, I'm going to work my I'm going to work my chest. And that's just kind of how I am. I'm like, I know I'm always going to be hurting, but the alternative is for me to be hurting and maybe not be able to, like get out of it. So I'd rather hurt because I'm causing it rather than neglecting it and causing it that way. But with a lot of them, I mean, I sit around the tournaments like you, and I see a lot of awesome guys, man. And honestly, I think some of the biggest divisions should be those 45, 55, 55, 65, because there's a lot of them standing around, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
and I really I don't know why. I mean, we need judges too, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's karate is one of those things that I try to teach for life. So
Yeah.
with these kids that I'm mentoring, I'm trying to teach them that it's not about the belt. It's not about the color of belt that you're wearing. I try to teach them that it's a lifetime thing. It's something that, you're getting into. And this isn't like soccer or basketball or baseball that has seasons. This is all year round. This is something that you can do to take preemptive measures to one keep yourself physically strong and mentally strong, and then also prepare yourself for any of that negativity out there that might come your way, because there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of negative people looking for their next. I just want to make sure that those kids can throw a nice 1-2, and maybe do what they do, or take the proper steps fast enough to be able to see the next day, and get away from that situation. And I also want to teach them that they don't always have to use their hands and feet to be able to get out of those conflicts. I want them to be able to know that they are strong young individuals, and they can speak their mind. And if they talk properly to people and treat people with respect, a lot of times they're going to regain that and get that mutually. So that's really what it's about. But with my training, back to that, I'm really I probably would not have done the Golden Greek if I didn't have a student that was going for the underbelt award. I have students that really motivate me. I've never been a huge competitor. I enjoy competing to a limitation. It's a lot of work, and I understand that when they get out there, you're putting yourself on the line. You also take chance of injury. And like we always say, we've got to go to work the next day. So,
Mhm.
with me, my competition was very limited over, my younger years. I did tournaments like once or twice a year. It was kind of all put onto one or two tournaments. But I had a awesome individual that I was training with for a short time. His name was Bobby Steiner, and he was actually from up north. And one tournament, I just saw him standing over there by himself, and I could tell he was completely kind of uncomfortable because he didn't really know anyone. And I just went over there and introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, you need someone in your corner?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." And so I was behind him for a coach, and man, this dude just blasted through the competition. I was like, "Man, you didn't even need me in the corner, man." I was like,
Yeah.
"You're just so amazing." Like, and we took a liking to each other, so he started coming in and training with me, and he made a comment one time about just you know if you do one or two tournaments a year, everything is on those two tournaments. Like your entire outlook on it is determined by that. So if you win, well, fantastic. But if you lose, well, you kind of hold that, and it kind of sticks with you. He was like, well, do 10 tournaments then. And he was like, if you win five and you lose five, well, it's not much that is much on the line. It's you're gonna get more comfortable, you're gonna enjoy yourself out there more. It's gonna be less of a pressure, but more of just a fun experience. And I took that to heart when he told me that. So I also had some students that were kind of competing by themselves, and I was like, well, if I want them to do it, well, I better step in there and lead by example. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. I get to fight with some of the legends out there. I mean, Walter Bryant, you got Larry Fields, you got so many great fighters out there. in this organization, DE Chambers. You've got, a lot of these guys that I actually grew up watching, and I'm getting to move around with these guys and spend a weekend and enjoy some lunch or just some karate talk or whatever. And like I've got to meet you, and I've got to meet a lot of your students, and I'm just constantly surrounding myself with individuals that kind of have the same mindset as me. And ultimately, I mean, I believe that most of the people in any martial arts is really, yeah, they want to be a better martial artist, but this is to me about the kids. It's about building up our youth and giving them a place to be able to go and put out what they're working on, and also, to test themselves, test their abilities, test their mental state, test their heart. And we're doing that through a safe organization where these kids can go and they're not going to get in no trouble. They're going to be able to take all this into the later years of their life as they develop. And these young individuals will most likely grow up to be successful, prosperous, giving individuals in our society one day. And ultimately, I think that that's what we're trying to do through martial arts is just raise up good individuals so our next generations can succeed. I mean, there's a lot, like we were just saying, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of people out there on the negative side. And, when I was younger, I grew up in that environment. I grew up in one of those real tough environments, just, stuff everywhere, and always making the wrong decisions. And, I watched a lot of people go away for long extensions of time. And, I even watched my brother go away for some time. And, I kind of looked at us like as I got older, like we were almost like the bad guys, and I didn't want to be a bad guy, man. I was taught right and from wrong, and I looked at all of that, and I knew that I wanted to be one of the good guys. I want to be one of the ones that are helping to build up our younger generations and to help them rather than putting steps in the way for them to have to stumble over before they achieve greatness. I just want to put nice, steady walkways for everyone to walk down and try to guide them the easiest possible way I can. And that's just really where I come from, man. I just come from that rough background, and I just don't want I don't want that for our kids. I don't want them to have to experience all of that. Honestly, I don't think anyone should have to experience those negativities in life. I wish we could all just be a little bit more positive. So.
That's great. I love what you're saying about those leadership life skills, respect, discipline, focus. I see on your website as I was exploring it this morning, you have your like tenets right there at the very top of your page. Accountability, integrity, I think ones like perseverance and honor. Um, Kind of close, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just love that because I think that those are the biggest takeaways. We usually fall into the martial arts because we want to learn how to defend ourselves, we want to protect those that we love, and those are noble causes and worthy reasons to train. But I think in the end, we kind of come away with a deeper meaning, one that is more internal, maybe even a little spiritual, that is really a personal pursuit of mind and body to empower ourselves and make ourselves better people and just continually refining our character. And, you'll use those self-defense skills a couple times in your life if you're unlucky, but you'll use those leadership life skills every single day. And that will help you make better friends and develop better relationships with your family and get a better job and do better in school. And so, like, I think that's the real takeaway, honestly, and something that is kind of starting to slip out of the martial arts community, especially in that more of the fight community that's emerging. But it's something that I think is really important, and one of the reasons why I think it's so noble that you're continuing that Soryu tradition and bringing it forward, because that's what seems to be a big part of that, and certainly is with Taekwondo, which is my principal discipline that I started in, and I think that it needs to be part of that instruction, or you're just basically teaching people to go out there and hurt people. I mean,
Pretty much.
I wouldn't give my child a weapon without teaching them how to use it and when and why, not just you know?
Oh, with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, that's the best hero quote ever, and these kids, they do learn skills that could potentially at the same time get them in trouble. I've had students in the past that we could even kind of phrase it out from Star Wars. I mean, I felt like I was trading Darth Vader, you know what I mean? And I could see that the individual was would not take what I was showing him and use it in the way I intended it. And unfortunately, I had to cut some of those students off. My school is a safe place. So a lot of people think that they come into my school and they get a 2 week free trial so they can try me out. But honestly, I'm the one trying them out. And that's why I give every one of them a 2 week trial because I want to make sure they're going to be a good fit. I don't need a thorn. I don't need someone that's going to come in and mess up what we're doing. And if they're not truly wanting to be a part of what we're doing, I don't really want them to be there. I want individuals. It could be the best individual. I mean, I could have Superman as a kid walk into my dojo, but and he showed me the wrong attitude, the wrong mindset, and the unwillingness to learn. I don't want him as a student. I don't want him around my other students. I want my students to have the best people or the best kids around them for themselves to be able to grow off of each other. And
Mhm.
I know all kids need that attention and stuff like that, but at the same time, at the extent of other kids, I can't put my kids in danger because of other individuals. So I'm very particular with my group. I got a great group of families that entrust their kids into me, and I wouldn't want to break that bond for nothing. My students and my families at my school are literally they are the Texas Soryu family. So when we bring in new people, I don't get a ton of walk-ins. I don't accept a ton of walk-ins. Most of the time that I take new students, it's going to be a referral from a friend, or it's going to be a family member, or somebody that's being introduced to me by someone in the dojo. Um, and I keep it that way because I feel like the morale of the school just stays so positive, and then it makes it not so nerve-wracking for the students when they're standing back in the back as a white belt, and they see their friend in the front though, they know that individual, and it gives them something to inspire up to, and so I don't do a ton of walk-ins. A lot of people do different things to try to build their organization. I would love to have 80 to 100 students, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the integrity of what I'm doing for it. So I'm going nice and slow. When I took the school over, I pretty much lost everyone. So I had to pretty much start over. I had a few that stayed with me, maybe three or four. We built it up to about 15 or 20. Then COVID hit, and we lost almost everyone again. We were back down to like four or five. And then a couple years after that, we built it up. It was 20, then 30, then 40. And we're kind of on that little roller coaster where we kind of just kind of ride up and down on it right now. But ultimately, I would love to be a bigger school, but I have multiple things that I'm still working on to make that a feasible thing for my kids because I will not sacrifice the integrity of what I'm doing. I'm trying to make I don't expect everyone to be the same black belt when they receive one, but I do expect everyone to be able to fundamentally do our style. It's a very basic style where I mean anybody can do it. We got ages of 4 all the way up to 65, and it's built for everyone. That's what I love about this style. But with all of that, I'm just trying to basically do it nice and slow. That way I can make sure that it doesn't collapse on me. I don't want it to get too big. I got to make sure I got enough black belts. I got to make sure I got enough heads in the dojo to be at least successful in trying to teach these kids. I want these kids to leave with at least one little thing a day, even if it's only one thing. But I do want them to leave with some sort of knowledge or some sort of skill. And I just want them to keep their attention because obviously, when you got a bunch of kids and you don't have enough directors, well, things get a little crazy in a dojo. So,
Mhm.
I'm still working on trying to get more black belts, and that comes with time. It's going to take time. I have two very dedicated black belts right now. I have Sensei Monroe and Sensei Rodriguez, and they show up every single class. They are there to help me through thick and thin. I mean, they are amazing amazing people that are there helping me do this. And then I have, two or three other black belts that were from my father that come in when they can, and it's very helpful. I appreciate their help. But I do need to build in more black belts that are, willing to be here in this dojo 100%, for the time being to help build it past where we're at. So I currently have man, I have like 8 brown belts right now, that are all coming up. Some of them have a little bit longer than others, but over the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be bringing out, probably 7 to 8 new black belts in our school. It's going to be a great time for us to take off. I hope that one day, I don't want you want like too many schools, but I would love to have a couple, locations and start trying to, not just do karate, but also start teaching individuals how to, build businesses. Whether I'm an investor or a sole provider, I want to help these people that I have literally, had in my life for, some of them 10 to 20 years, to help build their own thing through martial arts. They don't have to be my school, but I think my ultimate goal is I want to put enough practitioners out there that I get 2 or 3 of them to go out and do this themselves. So, we can start building up the Soryu community again. That is my big goal behind all of this is to really get people with the same mindset as me. And my retention is crazy when it comes to my thought process because or I'm sorry, retention is crazy when it comes to my thought process because I'm at the point now where like if I don't even feel like somebody wants to do this as a whole, like I'm having trouble wanting to give them a black belt, like I see
Hmm.
all these people out there get a black belt and then do nothing with it. I mean, it's like driving a car or getting your license and then never driving a car, so I really want to teach people how to use their martial arts to better their community, better the people around them, and maybe even help build their own business one day so they can get more self-sufficient. I love seeing schools that are doing fantastic. I have some of the guys I look up to are like Jason Matthews. I watch his brother Dustin Matthews. There's Ty Garrett, Garrett Payne. I mean, there's some really amazing martial artists here in Texas that I keep a real close eye on, and I love supporting them through everything they're doing online and stuff because they are doing amazing. And they started at a young age. They grew their schools up to be significantly some of the largest in Texas, and it's amazing all the lives that they're changing. I mean, when I see these guys putting out 10 black belts at a time. I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, that is amazing. And I hope that one day I can grow to do that and see that for Soryu, Texas Soryu Karate and its finest maybe one day. So
Gonna happen, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And all that experience running those businesses is definitely gonna come in handy in running your own business as a martial arts school. What I know we've taken a lot of your time, and I know you're a really busy guy.
I
But
could talk all day, but
well, I had one more thought that was kind of coming up as you were talking about your style and your vision for your school, and that is, I did Shorin karate for a long time, and it's still very near and dear to my heart. I go through my Shorin forms, when I have time, and um, how does Soryu karate, in your mind, compare to other styles of karate? And how is your personal style influencing what you're teaching on the mats and informing your competitors when they go to tournaments? Are you more you have certain techniques that are your kind of bread and butter that you're really focused on imparting to your students? And just can you talk a little bit about Soryu as a style and maybe your own personal take on it?
so I I look online all the time trying to find things that are close to Soryu, and the closest thing I can find is Shotokan katas. If I watch Shotokan katas, they are super duper similar. There's just one thing that Soryu does thrive on pushing is deeper stances. So a lot of the Japanese karate, they're not quite as deep as what we're pushing our students to go when I'm watching them on like say YouTube or something like that. But that is absolutely the closest thing I've ever come to our forms. I've actually seen pinyons, I've seen kashankas, I've seen them all done in Shotokan. They're named different, but that's basically where Coriaso designed his forms from, and you can 100% see that when you're watching the forms. Coriaso, if I'm not mistaken, was a, I don't want to say what degree because I'm not 100%, but he was a Dan underneath his instructor in Shotokan when he broke off and made Soryu Karate. Without Joe Alvarado going over to Japan and learning, I don't even know if it would have reached the States, to be honest with you, because it is a much smaller organization than almost everyone out there. I actually feel really honored to be doing Soryu because it is kind of like we're unique. We're different.
Mhm.
We're not the same as other people. There's not, you go to a tournament and you watch a taekwondo form or you watch a kaija kempo form, and because there's tons of kaija kempo around us, a majority of the black belts recognize those forms. But when I'm doing my forms, there's not every black belt knows my form, so it actually can be beneficial to me too because if I mess it up, I'm not criticized as much. You know what I mean? But and we all make mistakes, But
Sure.
that's really the most similar forms I can find is um is the Shotokan forms. With my school and teaching and trying to get these kids ready for competition, I just teach them consistency is key. I ask them what do they want to be good at. Like my bread and butter is probably my strongest technique is probably my back fist. I touch people with that back fist and it seems to put the lights out on people. I have a lot of people get on me because I am a much more skilled fighter with my hands, but I don't use a ton of hands in tournaments. I prefer to kind of do a lot of kicking, and I feel like I have a ton more control with my kicks than I do with my hands. So I try to get points with these kicks, and I kind of tend not to really start opening up my hands until I find like I'm behind or something. I'm trying to pull back some points, but it does kind of seem like it's lights out a lot of time when I hit people. So I'm always super concerned with, for one, I'm not trying to hurt nobody out there when I'm competing. I'm really trying to be very respectful to everyone. But it just, I'm a 245 pounds. And when I start coming off that line and it just, and I'm really putting that effort and that force forward, it just, unfortunately, it's got a lot of power behind it. And so, like I said, I tend to try not to throw too much, but it's inevitable that I have to. But I try to teach these kids to pick up a couple techniques that they really enjoy, and practice it over and over and over again. If you want to be good at a roundhouse, well, you go give me 100 roundhouses on that. And I don't mean just today. I mean, every time you come into this gym, if you want a good jump spin side kick, you want a good step side kick, you want a good back fist, whatever it is, you have to drill it. You have to do it continuously. Peter Jartuni, which is a great friend of mine from when he was a kid all the way to now, he drilled that into my mind when I used to train point sparring with that because he was like, dude, you just pick one technique. He's like, when you're sparring and you're in class, he's like, just pick a technique and just do it over and over and over, make it work. He was like, if you want it to be good, you've got to practice it. And so I did. I sat in front of that bag and I throw that back fist. I throw my side kicks, my slide side kicks. I used to fight a ton in the streets when I was young. I was just a very aggressive young man, and I'm not the man I used to be when it comes to my aggression. I've learned how to control that through martial arts, actually, and I just try to get these kids to realize that if they want to be good at anything, they're gonna have to do it day in and day out. I don't care how bored you are of it. I don't care how
Mhm.
repetitious it becomes. I don't care if it's boring. You can tell me that all day long. but one that does not like horse stance must do more horse stance. I think that's one of the best lines I've ever heard.
That's
So
awesome.
if you
That's
want
a
to get
good
good at it,
t-shirt.
you gotta do it. It doesn't matter what your mind's telling you. It's about what does your heart want. And so I teach these kids to overcome and to persevere and to push forward and to do what they don't want to do to get good at the things that they want to be good at, because I know that if you want to be successful, there's going to be a bunch of things you got to do that you're not going to want to do, but inevitably you're going to have to do them to achieve those goals. I don't ever think that I'm ever going to be the best martial artist in the world, but I'm going to thrive and I'm going to practice like I lost at the last tournament, regardless of a win or loss. I'm always going to go back to the gym. I'm always going to show up. I'm always going to be there pushing. I'm always going to be doing something to try to better myself. My karate is my time. My working out in the gym is my time. We got 24 hours in a day, and if I give myself 2 to 3 hours a day, that's a very limited amount of time that I'm giving to myself. And the other 10 hours awake, I'm giving either business or trying to be successful in them. So that's for other people too, and for myself, my karate is just it's my time, and my lifting weights, that's my time. Like, and I just won't let anybody take that from me. People come in with excuses all the time, like, oh, I had this appointment. Well, could you have made it in a time when it wasn't during your karate time? Or I mean, it's just like you make your decisions, and if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. But it's about ones that push through the things they don't want to do that are going to achieve those goals that they truly want to get to. So I just try to teach these kids, regardless of whether you want to do it or not, it has to be done. And if you want to be good at it, you have to do it a lot. And if you do it a lot and you train yourself to overcome what your mind is telling you not to do, man, you can be successful in martial arts. You can be one of the best martial artists out there. And honestly, to me, it doesn't matter if they win on the mats. I don't care if they win the tournament. I just want them to be happy and have fun and enjoy this. We only got this moment once, and hey, it's already gone, man. It just passed. So we got this next moment coming up in front of us. And if I can grab that and dictate it the way I'd like to, I might be able to manage just a tad bit of my future a little bit better than the one that's not. So, these kids, I just want them to be amazing. I want all my adults around me to be amazing. I want everyone to succeed. That's the one thing about me on those mats, man, is when I'm out there, you watch me judge or anything. I want them all to win, man, even if they're not my student. I want Master Chambers students. I want your students. I want everyone to win out there. And I don't just mean like put a gold medal around them. I mean like as young individuals or as human beings. So
That's some great wisdom to end on. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think we are kindred spirits, and I look forward to seeing you around at those AK events. I hope you come to our tournament. I think
I'm
you,
gonna be there. I definitely am. I told you I'd be there, man. And you're so close, man. There's no way I'm gonna miss it, man. Right?
yes,
Kyle's right
sir.
down the road from us. So we'll
Yes, sir.
definitely be there. So are you gonna be
Okay.
at the Villarreal tournament, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. Sure.
Fantastic. Put the plug out there for Grandmaster Villarreal. It is coming up in
Yeah.
June. Make sure you're there. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Until next time, let's keep training hard. If you enjoyed that podcast, please consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel, as well as hitting the notification bell. We offer in-person, group, and private lessons at our facility in Kyle, Texas, as well as virtual lessons anywhere in the world. If you'd like to learn more about our programs, you can find us online at risingphoenixtkd.com.